Well, welcome. I see you've joined us. I hope you grab a nice can of fine liquid of your choice. This is the first Akimbo podcast. My name's Ethan, and I'm a co-founder of Akimbo.
I'm Daniel, and I'm also a co-founder of Akimbo. So,
Yeah,
well,
so
yeah, let's hop
yeah,
right into it.
basically what we're going to be doing is every week we're just going to be having a sit-down chat and basically talk about life, talk about some interesting topics, and hopefully you guys enjoy. Our goal for this is to be able to look back once we're successful and think about those old times about how and see how far we've grown from this point. So let's begin. Daniel brought up an interesting point.
Okay, so this completely doesn't have a lot to do with the business, but I was just thinking about. I was writing a video script, just coming out soon. I think you guys are gonna enjoy it, and we'll dive into the videos a little bit later. But the American Revolutionary War, when it was happening, they probably didn't call it the Revolutionary War because they didn't know it was a revolution. So when did it get this name of the Revolutionary War? Is this something we gave it like more modern? Is this something that happened like as they won? I tried researching it, and there's like I'm not gonna say there's no information on it because my research was quite shallow. I spent maybe 15 or 20 minutes on it. But there's nothing, like, if you type up the question, Google doesn't spit out a good answer. So, yeah, I actually DM'd my AP US history teacher to ask him this question. He has not yet answered me. So what are your thoughts on it, Ethan? Give me some insights here.
Well, first of all, I think that is a very interesting question because when you say revolution, I doubt you. Back in the day, they're like, "We're starting a revolution. We're starting a revolution." I think it's a term that got brought up over on as history progressed. And another interesting thing I was thinking about that was World War One. So when World War One was happening, the people weren't thinking, "Hey, let's call this World War One." And when you emphasize the number, that has to mean that there's either ones before that or after that. So they didn't expect for there to be more. So where did the numbers come in place? Obviously, at when World War Two took place. But it's very interesting to think about how they got those names.
Yeah, so I think it was called the Great War prior to the World War One.
I believe so.
But that makes me think back. I don't know if you've seen the jokes where it's like, oh, the time traveler goes into World War One, and then he's like, oh, what time period am I in? And then they're like 1920 or 1918 or whatever it was. It's like, oh, so World War One is happening, and then the guy's like, World War One?
One.
What do you mean? So yeah,
But yeah, so hopefully that's able to start us off with the icebreaker. But now let's get into a little bit of business.
okay, let's
So
go.
if you don't know, we're Akimbo Media, and we're basically a website developing company, social media developing company, and overall marketing helping improve your business. So basically, let's discuss about some of the stuff we did this week. First of all, we film content. You can go look at our YouTube channel and check out those shorts, help you keep motivated. We also created a website. So basically, what we had to do is we had to outreach to different people and see how we were able to help generate our website. We also had to do a lot of research development and look up a bunch of new terms because we realized in the beginning we didn't know what we were talking about. But now we have a lot better understanding throughout this week, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, and
Another thing, yep.
just to add on a little bit to the website, we had an in-person meeting. What was it, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, where we spent like the better part of 2 days just forming this website. What information and what plan we transferred to this individual who's sort of putting the website into being. We spent what I said, the better part of 2 days
Exactly,
just
yep.
just creating the content that's on the website, organizing it the best way possible to get the best sort of image to you guys, and well, yeah, just getting that sort of cluster done so we can hand it off to well, the professional in that specific field to get the best possible product.
Exactly. And then another thing we did was develop a list of prospective clients, which I think was interesting. We're able to go and find that. Just going on internet and finding potential clients. And Daniel was actually the goat. He wrote up a copyright of basically an introduction email. And I think he absolutely knocked it out the park. Would you like to explain how you did that?
Honestly, so I did the research into the copyright. I looked at some courses like Imangaji and then just other YouTube sort of resources. A lot of it pointed to AI. So that's where I first started looking. I just went on ChatGPT and was like, okay, I'm a local business looking for a website. What am I looking for? Then from that, I tried to gather sort of like the main concerns. However, it wasn't as much help as I thought it'd be. Then I just opened the doc and started writing like a, I wouldn't call it a sales pitch because you don't want to come off as you're trying to sell them something right away. You're trying to get them on a call to further explain sort of who you are and what you're trying to achieve for their business. So I just started writing and I think I came up with quite a good sort of, it's a very short paragraph of introductory, trying to be very respectful, very to the point to the client to sort of just get your point across as quickly and concisely as possible. And yeah, so I'd say you can get started with AI, but what worked for me is just start writing. Get words on the page and go from there. And honestly, I've looked at it back a couple times. I haven't had to revise it a whole ton. Now, I think this will change once we start implementing and sending out these emails. Maybe we'll get more reach to some certain type of client. Then maybe we have to alter the copyright and then we'll test different copyrights to see what works for what type of client or if one copyright works better just in general. So yeah,
And I would like to state on that note that, again, this is a sales pitch, but we're not scamming people. We're not trying to be like a telemarketer that calls you and is just trying to take your money. What we're trying to do is genuinely help your business, and we understand that if we help you, that will eventually help us. And that brings me to another topic of always being kind to everyone you meet, because what goes around comes around, and you never know who you might end up. You can see Neon, for example. That guy was talking his talk, finally got beat up. Maybe things would have ended up differently if he just treated everyone with respect. So I feel like that's a good lesson. Treat everyone with respect because you never know where it might lead you.
Well, yeah, and even I'm not gonna talk about my personal opinion on Andrew Tate, but his response I think was actually quite good to the whole situation. So he had the conversation with Aiden Ross and Neom, where I wouldn't call it a very civil conversation, but pretty much he had this conversation, this initial introduction, which probably wasn't very good to Neom. He saw this video about him getting, bullied and just beat up. And he said his piece about it. He's like, yeah, you probably deserved it, but I don't support this. So he kind of extended, I think he referenced it as an olive branch to help him out and help him out of this bad moment. So I think that was a very good response.
I also agree. I think with his position at this time, he could do anything he wants. Most rich, powerful, but for him to be able to be willing to help out another person and help better the world, I feel like that really shows his character.
Yeah, no, well,
Yeah.
Another thing I want to talk about. So we're doing a business, we're actually starting a physical business. Now, there's a lot of wealth making methods I've researched. And the first one that was like the most achievable for me when you're underage is stock market. Because, you get some money in your account and you can start investing. I wouldn't say very easily because you have to go through the process of opening the account with the bank, then you have to open the account with the business. So it takes some work, but it's easier than getting all the documentation you may initially need for starting a business. So I just wanted to get your sort of opinion on stock market. Is that something you considered? Have you dabbled in the stock market? Is that something you want to do at some point?
Well, yeah, so I feel like the stock market's always been there since the dawn of time. It's been showing success for many people. And a couple of years ago, mainly during like 2020, I was into stocks and doing a little bit of day trading. I mean, obviously didn't make much, but then I realized that over more long-term investments, I started making more money through that than I was day trading. So after that, I've become more of a long-term trader. I do believe in investing your money, but I also do agree with spending your money at the same time and enjoying your life. So always invest. That way you have a backup plan. But as of going like from gambling with it, as I call it, I think it's better to just leave it down to the long term and have as a long term income source.
Okay, so that's interesting. So you have dabbled in it, you have experience into it, but currently you're not doing a lot with it. You're trying to focus on a physical business, which is what we're doing, is what I'm getting.
Correct. Yeah, I also believe, there's a lot of things you have to learn with any business you have to learn, and particularly the one that we're starting. I like that we're able to reach out to clients and physically talk to people rather than just sitting behind a computer screen because the field that I eventually want to go into requires a lot of personal skills. And I believe doing any type of sales job is a very good place to start, especially while we're young and get that skill set underneath our belt.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, I almost forgot. Yo,
Oh shit.
bringing out the hat with the headphones.
Woo!
Okay, there's a 50% chance this falls off at some point. But yeah, we can
Yeah,
continue
so
now.
basically, yeah, we basically mentioned the weekly, how the week's gone. Daniel, what was the most difficult part for this week
What
for
was the
you?
most difficult part of the week? Um, are we starting the week from Sunday?
Yeah, all right,
Okay.
throughout this process, what's been the most difficult part?
Oh, if we're talking strictly business, that first step. Just the whole process of building a business, having the foundation set is the hardest step. Once you have a plan of attack and how you're going to get clients, what the next step is. I'm not saying plan out, okay, this is what I do today, this is what I do tomorrow, and no, I'm saying have a general idea, a general guideline of how you're going to proceed. That's the hardest part. Just forming that guideline. Then, well, I say that's the hardest part, but actually the hardest part is instead of just setting the guideline is acting on it. Once you take that first step, you gain momentum and you keep going and going and going, and it's so much easier once you actually gain momentum. It's absolutely crazy. And I apply the same sort of, what do I call it, method, or yeah, I guess methodology to things like the gym. It applies the same way. If the reason I hate a rest day, oh boy, the hat's going. The reason I hate a rest day is because it kills your whole mojo. Like, you're getting into this whole set of gym, 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 and then it is beneficial, but you have to take that rest day, and it just kills all your momentum, and then you're done with the rest day, and once you get back, it is just hard to, like, those first two workouts are just harder because you're not in that mindset.
Exactly.
So
And
yeah.
I think of it kind of like a snowball. Like if you're pushing something, the hardest part is just getting the snowball moving. But once you have it moving, you can use inertia to help it keep gaining momentum. And then you can eventually it'll compound and your snowball will get bigger. Boom. M1, V1 momentum equation going into
We're in physics, bro.
physicists that works.
Yeah,
Yep, yep.
I think there's, well, I don't know if it's a phenomenon, but the snowball effect, it just keeps on piling and piling and piling, and it might take you a while to get the momentum going. Like, you might just keep going flat, but at some point you're going to find the slope. So keep at it, get started, and keep the momentum going. Because
And I will
even,
say,
go for it.
yeah. So it's super easy to just talk and speak up the business and the idea, but actually acting on the idea is the hard part. So you can just like say like, "Oh, I'm going to the gym," for example. The hardest part for going to the gym is just driving your car to get there, acting upon it. And I really think that's the importance of having a business partner, someone like Daniel who I trust like with my heart. I can basically count on him to remind me if I'm not doing good to say you need to step it up, Ethan. Let's work. And I also know that I can do the same for Daniel. So I think being a business partner, we motivate each other because getting in your own head it can hinder your ability to proceed. And having a business partner is a great way to negate that.
Exactly. Just having somebody to keep you accountable is so powerful because your brain, no matter how good you are at controlling it, no matter how much you've gone on this momentum, it will wander. It will want to, oh, maybe I should take a rest day today. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should skip this. I can take extra time that you don't have. No, it will wander, but you don't want that. So if you have a business partner that you trust and you have the same goals, you have the same trajectory, or well, in the reasonable spectrum of the same trajectory of life, you keep yourselves accountable with one another. And it's just crazy powerful because some days you just need that extra voice to tell you, go to the gym, get your ass up. You're being lazy. Go to the gym. And it's a topic I will also cover in a video I drafted up about gym bros. So yeah, I think having a business partner, somebody by your side to help push you and you bring each other up is incredibly powerful.
Yeah, yeah. So now another thing I want to ask you is, why are we even doing this in the first place? I can go first if you like. I'll let you have some time to think. Basically, I have a couple of things. So what we're doing, we're creating a business. We're working really hard. You can see that in the shorts. I post the shorts. That way you guys know that I'm just not saying to work hard, but I'm actually showing you that I am working hard. So I'm holding you accountable. You who's watching this, I'm also holding you accountable. But what other choice do you have? You have two choices. You can work hard. Sure, it might not be as fun. Or you can just stay in bed all day and do nothing. That's the thing I hate the most out of every day. If I don't meet my goal of what I think I will be able to do and be proud of myself by the end of the night, I feel terrible. So I know in my heart that doing the more difficult thing is going to make me more proud and happy at the end of the day. I also believe it's important to honor your family. You know, my parents didn't raise me for 18 years of their life for me to do nothing. So I feel like it's a big part of my responsibility, and I owe it to them to help pay them back in a way. I also do it for my future family. Every night I go to bed, I think of my future family. I think of my future wife. I think of my future kids. And I want them to know in my head that I did everything I could today to give them the best life possible. So baby, if you're watching this, I love you, and I got us covered. Don't worry about it. And yeah, you know, at the end of the day, I just want to be free, and I want to enjoy everything life has to offer. You know, Daniel and I, he sent me this quote basically of us having 30 diamond watches and then a picture of our bank account, just like the 100 million or the million, just going down by one digit. And it's just, money's just a number at that point. Like, it doesn't even matter. So I think that's an incredible thing. Every day I watch videos of cars. Today was like a big McLaren day, so I was like, maybe I'm feeling McLaren, but I want to be able to be at the point where, you know, we just get everything we want out of life.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm gonna break it down into a couple steps. So the first one is, why do I get up early? Why do I go to the gym? Why am I productive? Why do I take care of myself? That I'm grouping up into like one sort of ball, and the reason I do it's the same thing you said. At the end of the day, you inevitably look back and you're like, where did I fuck up today? You usually don't look at the good of the day. You usually look at what you could have done better, which is a good and bad, because you most likely did a lot of good things and not a lot of bad things, but you focus on the bad and try to improve that. So the reason I'm so motivated and I push so much to just be productive and get to where I want to be is because of that. You want to get to the ideal that at the end of the day, you made it. You did as much as you possibly could that day. And that's just like, I wouldn't say it's an impossible ideal, but it's very hard to get. And once you get there, it has to feel great. It just has to feel great. As far as the business, why am I committing myself to entrepreneurship? Well, just entrepreneurship is because I don't work well under people, if that makes any sense. I like to be in charge. I like to be the boss. I like to make the decisions because then this is an up and down. Everything is at the palm of your hands. If you fuck up, you're responsible. You don't have to go look at anybody else. It's like, oh, I would have made a different choice. No, 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 no. This was your decision and you fucked up. Even if it's your manager, you're the one that hired that manager, so it all ties back to you. So it's a thing about accountability. If you're in charge, you have full accountability, which for me is something I particularly really do like. I like being in charge. Then looking at the monetary aspect, what I've always said, freedom. If you have $300 million in your bank account, you are free. You're not going to places looking at price tags, being like, I don't know if I can afford that. You're just like, put it on the card. That's all. So
Exactly.
yeah, just freedom. That's the way I put it. It's not freedom in the way of, can I leave my house? No, it's freedom in the way of spending. I don't have to think about it anymore. That's my ideal. And that all goes back to family and to the legacy you want to leave behind. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think you touched on very good points, and I think as it's our job now as a new generation coming to set a good precedent for the future generation. So for everyone else who's also a teenager in our current situation, we strongly encourage you to work very hard every day, no matter what. Ignore your feelings, go on pure logic, and stick to it. Because at the end of the day, you'll look back and you'll be glad. I don't think there's one person who's done the most difficult thing and came out in a worse position. At the end of the day, you're crossing the finish line and you're going to be happy. So do what's hard right now, and then and seek the benefits of it later. That's what I recommend.
And another thing I would say, ignore distractions, especially at our age. We're going into college. Party here, party there, this and that. Ignore distractions. Focus on yourselves. The parties in your $50 million yacht are going to be a hell of a lot better than the party in the frat house. I promise you that. So focus on yourself for now. Ignore the distractions and move forward, push forward. Just keep going. I promise you, you will never look back.
Yeah, and another thing I'd like to touch on is like, so I went on vacation, for example. I was lucky enough to go to Italy this year with my mother, and we're at Capri. And then, so as you're at Capri, you just see the mega yachts on the boat. We saw like the Tommy Hilfiger yacht. And you just see those 50 million yachts, and it's crazy that people have money to buy that. And what am I doing? And it makes me mad every time I see any like luxury item, like they know something that we don't. And they've got to a point, and like that just pisses me off every day when I see that. I'm like, you know what? Because we all have the potential to be able to get to the same level as they are, but why not? So the important thing is that we understand that we're not going to be able to get it tomorrow, but if we work hard enough today, maybe one day we can. So yeah, that's what I like to say.
Exactly. And talking about the fast wealth, let me get it tomorrow. I can only really think of one example that sort of happened, and that's like Bitcoin and what are they called? Crypto.
Basically,
And
the lottery.
it's luck. It all like nobody invested $1,000 on Bitcoin and said, you know what, tomorrow this is gonna be worth $3 million. No person predicted that. Absolutely nobody could have foreseen it coming. Every other wealth method takes time, takes work, takes effort. So keep at it, push forward.
And that's what's respectable once you do have that yacht, is that the people know that if you're the owner of the yacht, it wasn't just, most of the time, it wasn't just handed to you, but you've actually had to work for that. And you being able to work for that increases your status. And that's what people respect. They don't respect that you have the yacht. They respect that you are able to put in the work to get the yacht.
That's why money holds status, because even if you were handed down the money, you still hold some status because at some point in your family history, somebody worked their ass off for that money. And it's the same thing with a strong body. It's so respected and so sought after because it's not easy to get. Sure, you can't cut corners here and there, but the primal, like natural, strong body is very sought after because it's so hard to get. You have to be in the gym every day working your ass off. You have to diet a certain way. You have to do this, and that just to get this sort of look and strength. And that's why it's so sought after because not everybody has the, what's it called? The willpower
Yep.
to get it. So yeah.
I agree. But yeah, so another thing we like to touch upon is the way we dress. So for those of you who don't know, I'm more someone that I really like enjoy the old money aesthetic. You know, I might not have enough money at the moment to fund my
Soon
addiction,
enough.
but I would like to talk about the way I dress. Now, I go to school and I typically wear a blazer and a shirt, and people think I'm ready to go to prom. So, and then, or I always get asked, why am I dressed this fancy? And what I'd like to touch upon is that it's out of respect. So let's say, for example, you go to church. When you go to church, you see everyone dressed very nicely. Why? Because they're going to a place that they respect. Likewise with me, every time I went to school, I wore a nice shirt and looked to be presentable in order to show my respect. So when I see other people wearing pajamas to school, Crocs to school, that just turns me off instantly. And when I think of that, I think of, you know what, you're maybe not, this is just what I'm thinking in my head. You might be a little bit lazy, get out of bed, put in minimum effort. So if you're putting in minimum effort for something as basic as your appearance, how do you expect to be taken seriously? And for that, and I've also learned that when you dress well, other people take note, and it's not the way you dress impacts other ways that you want other people. So if I'm wearing a nice suit and jacket, I'm not going to be impressing a homeless person, for example, you know, or the other people that wear the sweatpants. But you know who I might be impressing? The other people that also like to wear suits. And that is ultimately why I do it. I used to be a big streetwear guy, and I'd wear the nice Jordans in school and everything like that. But the only people I found out that I was impressing was the other people who enjoyed Jordans and stuff like that. And ultimately, as you know, we're moving into business and stuff, that's not who I'm looking to impress now. So why I dress the way I dress is to impress and associate myself with other people of like-minded.
Honestly, to give my little 2 cents on it, I was never lazy in the way I dressed. I just dressed very conventionally, what everybody would do, just sort of follow the trend. I was in, what was it, the first year, 9th grade. I would always, every single day without fail, wear jeans and a hoodie. That was all I would wear. Then sophomore year was COVID. And then junior year, I started dressing better. It was more like gym shorts and just a regular t-shirt. So a little bit more modern. I wouldn't call it professional, but I started caring a little bit more about what I was putting on. Then I met this guy, and his old money aesthetic sort of rubbed off on me. And the first
As it
sort
should.
of,
As it should.
100%. I've never looked back. I think it's one of the best changes I've made. One of the first things I did, I got myself a nice blazer. It's not like a suit blazer. It's sort of more like a shirt.
It's more
material.
casual. It's more
exactly.
knit.
It was
Yeah.
super casual, but it's
Thanks, Nordstrom Rack. That's the best place to go.
Oh
We got
my
some
God,
cheap
bro.
cheap
Nordstrom
stuff of good
Rack.
quality. Nordstrom Rack.
Nordstrom Rack was insane. But yeah, so I wore this blazer, and it wasn't incredibly formal to where you take it to prom, but it was so much more formal than anything everybody else was wearing that I just showed up and everybody would ask me, "What's the occasion?" And I would just be like, "I just have to take care of business today." And you just walk off, and it's just, you say the stupidest thing, and it makes you feel like So
There's always
powerful.
something to talk about. Exactly. You feel mature and you're well respected. Every time you dress nice, people look at you different. When I go out and I see a grown man that's kind of oversized and he's wearing streetwear clothes with one of those bucket hats, I'm like, how can anyone take this guy seriously? Dress your age and dress how you want to be perceived.
Exactly. So, yeah, just continuing, I sort of put this on, and the one thing is with this nice blazer outfit, I would wear it every 2 or 3 weeks, and without fail, people would always comment on it. Even people that commented on it before, because I sort of kept it where it was not the usual, but it would be like something out of the ordinary. So people would comment on it, and then now I'm just wearing, I wear dress pants and just a regular t-shirt, no logos, just one color, and then nice shoes, which actually we got to talk about shoes cuz I need some nicer shoes, bro. But anyways, we'll get to that in a
The
little bit.
LP
But
Summer Walk.
but yeah, so I just wear that and it looks very clean and very, I wouldn't say formal. It's like a mixture between casual and formal, and it's just so different from what people are wearing that you'll always
Especially
get.
from our people our age, so you
Exactly.
extremely stand out. So
Exactly.
it's a good way to stand out.
So in college, you don't get as much as the people commenting, or maybe not yet because I just started, what, 5 6 weeks, so I haven't
And
formed
I've
any
never
like
been to an
close.
in-person class yet, so I don't
Exactly,
really
exactly. I haven't
know.
formed any close relationships, so nobody's gonna actually comment. But you'll get the looks, and you're like, damn. And then another one, which was absolutely crazy. I had one presentation this whole semester, so I was like, okay, one presentation. I gotta present myself properly. Dress pants, blazer, nice shirt, nothing out of the ordinary. That my nicest shoes that weren't
With the
dress
hat
shoes.
or no hat?
I did not do hat. I did my hair. I did not do hat. I'll wear the hat casually, but I don't. I also keep it so it's out of the ordinary. And I have gotten people like, "Man, why you wear the hat?" And I'm like, "What can I say? It's just, what's the name?
If you get it, you get it, you know?
Exact, sort of like that. It's just a dress piece,
But
something I
yeah,
like to
continue with
wear."
your story.
But yeah, so I wore, it was a presentation, there was 5 or 6 people in our group. I get there, in my blazer, my nice shirt, a little bit more formal than all the other presentations that had been given. And my own group mates were like, "Man, why are you wearing so formal?" And I'm like, "It's a presentation. We're in front of the class. You have to present yourself nicely." So I'm out here like standing out just with the people I'm presenting with. They're just casual streetwear, wearing whatever they wore normally, and I'm over here nice and cleaned up. And I was like, there's no way nobody cares. Like, you're giving a presentation. Like, dress a little bit nicer. So yeah, I think definitely change the way you dress to something more professional. I wouldn't necessarily say dress your age because we're not dressing our age. Our age
Exactly.
dresses like hooligans, honestly.
Go open your TikTok, you'll see.
So exactly. So I wouldn't say dress your age, I say dress professionally. If you're
Dress how
walking
you
down
want to
the
be
street,
perceived.
exactly. If you're walking down the street and this guy who's going, maybe your future boss or maybe a future worker of yours, sees you and you're dressed professionally, the first impression, which is incredibly important, is gonna be so much better than if you're dressed like a hooligan. So
Exactly. Good.
so yeah,
I
definitely
agree.
begin dressing professionally and make it your norm. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Daniel, is there anything else you would like to add for
Um,
this podcast for today?
Honestly, I just want to talk a little bit about a content that I may or may not be putting out soon. So I'm planning. I don't know if it's happening because I still have logistics going on. But I may be going on like this primitive camping trip with a friend of mine. We're just, I don't know what we're doing yet. It's sort of up in the air with what's happening. But if it does happen, where is it? Where is it? I got the GoPro ready for you guys. We're
Oh
going
man.
crazy, and we got. I just ordered new batteries, so this is gonna be insane content. We're gonna, if it happens, we're gonna be going into. This is gonna be very primitive, so it's gonna be us and nature. So hopefully it does happen. I'm very excited about it. And yeah, if it does happen, you guys will have the content. We're talking about 3 days, so ideally 3 episodes of whatever tomfoolery goes on in those 3 days. But yeah, so hopefully that occurs and I can put some content out for you guys.
And I will be going to London next month, moving into central London. And I will be glad to share a vlog with you guys. I'm going to my process, go in London, and hopefully bring some nice London content there. It'll also be interesting to see how we can use our brand from London and the US and try to see how we can merge business throughout. But other than that, I think that's about it. We've covered everything we'd like to talk about. And we appreciate you guys for watching. So please leave a like if you enjoyed. And yeah, we'll see you in the next podcast.
Yeah, y'all have a good night.